Your first question is like maximal rectangle. So a 2D binary matrix which is filled with zeros and ones, and we are supposed to find the largest rectangle containing only ones and return the area. So here, this is that required rectangle. Sorry, six, the bold ones which you're getting, and there are no such constraints over here. So how to proceed here? Like,
Okay, so it's the largest rectangle that we have to find, and the largest
yeah,
rectangle will contain only ones.
ones. Yeah,
Right. So it's not a square. Right.
yeah,
So if it would have been a square, we had a problem a couple of weeks back, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It was like you keep on finding the whichever is whichever are the coordinates which are closer to a particular cell, the top, and
Down,
it's
left.
not down, I think.
Dynamic programming.
Yeah,
Mm.
diagonal and then left one, right? So whatever it is. But here we could actually go by the brute force. We could go, expand our rectangle. Start with the smallest rectangle first, then expand one row, then one column, like that. Keep on expanding it and find if there are all ones, you know, start from the 0, 0 position of the cell, and then
Hmm.
go all over the n minus 1 or m minus 1, whatever the
Till the last.
last, yeah, and then keep on counting all ones in that particular rectangle. But that will be sort of an n cube solution, correct?
Yeah, first generating all the solutions. Sorry, all the possible rectangles out of this matrix, and then checking which would be maximum, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is one solution, um, and it might be okay to even implement that, right, in a worst case. Yeah. So if we have to optimize that one,
Yeah.
so how do we do that?
This is somewhat similar to that. What is it? Histogram.
Histogram. Okay.
Yeah, we have to find the largest rectangle, right? Histogram also.
Okay.
This one, like, I mean, you have been given histograms like this. So we were supposed to find which would be the largest area in this rectangle. So this would be that, right?
Mhm. Okay.
Something like rather than directly giving the height, they have given the what do you say? Single row, like they have represented it in the form of a 0, 1 format.
Mhm. So, but how the histogram? Okay, but so you are considering a single row at a time,
Yeah,
right? Okay. And then you are trying to find with that single row if you can get the maximum,
rectangle
yeah, the maximum square area, right? Okay.
area. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or maybe I mean some other ways that would be better. Like,
No, anything is fine, but I'm still not getting how that
I mean,
it will go away.
you were given the height of what you say, height of this rectangle, height of this rectangle. So from
Uh-huh.
this side, you go and check which would be the what you say. I mean, if you are at this, you will check what is the max. I mean, height greater, lesser than this. You check till which point you get a height which is lesser than this height, right? Like if let's say if this
Uh-huh.
is a rectangle, so and this is a rectangle, so you will stop here, right? Because this much area you can get, right? So you'll always search for this height. You will search for a height which is lesser than this height. This height. Then only you can get the common area, right? And
Okay,
on
so
again
you
on
are trying to find the minimum height. Okay,
yeah,
so for a range, correct,
yes,
in a particular row.
row.
But before doing that, you are actually trying to do a cumulative addition of all rows, right? Because for the row 0, all will be 1 or zeros, right?
Yeah.
So for row 1, actually you can go and look for the cumulative values of a cell. So you will go and look for the its upper row, and see if it is 1, then you will add it, right? So something like that. You keep on adding it.
Hmm. So
Oh.
I'll collect all the left heights, all the right heights, and difference of left and right height will give you the width, right?
Mhm.
And area will be whatever height is there into which you do,
Mhm.
and just keep on updating the maximum. This is for that problem, histogram problem. But here we
Okay.
have, yeah.
So, but in this case, no, this is good. But in this case, can't we do it like if we just have to find the minimum height at a particular row, right?
Okay.
So we do the same what you are doing, like you do a cumulative for each and every row. So when we find a minimum height, then we use that minimum height, okay, and then just calculate. Yeah, so that will be our width, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you calculate that with what what number of rows from the top you are coming, right?
Hmm.
So for each and every row from a particular cell, you look at a value and then keep on going to the top till you don't hit the zeroth row, and find whatever is the minimum rows in that. And each and every time when you are doing that, you'll find the minimum area, because now you have a particular minimum width at a particular row in a particular column, correct? So
Hmm. Okay.
you keep on expanding it, because when you are doing a cumulative one, oh, here you are actually trying to do a cumulative with your rows, right?
Rows, yes.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. No, I think I was trying to think in terms of if I do a cumulative with the columns, you know. So yeah.
That way also we can do. It's not
Uh-huh.
a, like you'll have height of 4, right? I mean, initially, like this way you are trying to go.
No, I was trying to say, like if we do a cumulative every time for each row, okay, we go and calculate in the case. Okay, I'll just annotate it here.
Yeah, marking a little bit.
So so taking this one. So if I say, if I start with the zeroth row, so it will be, in this case it will be 1 0 1 0 0, right? In the second one, it will be 1 0. The first will be 1, then this will be 2, right? Because the previous one of it is 1, and then this will be 3, right? So I'm doing a cumulative one. So in the second one, third one will be 1
1, 2,
2 3 4 and 5,
4,
right?
6. Oh, sorry, sorry.
Yeah, and then you will have 1 0 0 1 0. So whenever you are at a particular row, right, uh, you will try to find the minimum width.
Hmm. So whenever you hit 0, you initialize it to 1. I mean, you start a fresh one from there, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like when you reach 0, then you started a fresh year from your height.
yeah,
You're not carrying the previous one, right?
yeah, correct, correct.
Yeah.
So in this case, now if I do, and then if I am at a particular row, in this case, if I am at here, right? Uh, when back to the annotator again. So if I am at 4, right? So I will
Okay.
go up. Okay, so 4 multiplied by 1, okay, will be 4 in that case, right? So then I'll go to the top, right? So which is the minimum out of the two? So this will be 2 will be the minimum, right? But
Hmm.
this is across 2 rows. So 2 into 2 will be 4 in this case, right? So my
Yeah.
still max will be again 4. But when I come to 5, so 5 into 1 will be 5, right? So my max will be 5, but again I can expand to the upper one, okay? So here this is 3, so 3 into 2 will be 6,
6.
right? So this way I can do it, right? So it is
Yeah.
sort of your approach only, but I'm trying to do a cumulative across the columns.
Columns.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically you are trying to fix your rectangles right bottom corner, right?
Right, right, right.
And then you're going upwards finding the minimum width, and
Yeah.
then on the fly changing the area.
Yeah. So I always go to the end. So when I come here, the minimum is 0. So it is useless calculating anything there, right?
Right.
So this will be 0. So I'll do it for each and every cell.
Correct. So this
So
would be
pictorially, how do you visualize
n
it?
cube, right?
Right. That is a challenge there. So I was not thinking that this won't be a very optimized way. What Shashank is saying, I think that might be more optimized.
But this is
But
also nice.
So
uh,
So how did you get
why
all
are we
the
multi?
multiplications?
I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I think he also has the same question. We did not understand the multiplications, like why are you doing these multiplications? Like,
Spanning two rows.
Yeah, so what happens, when at a particular cell, what I'm doing is I'm finding a particular, let me show you. Okay. So when I'm at this cell, so what does this mean? So it is only considered a single row, right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm not multiplying anything. So actually I should multiply by 1 because it is a single row and 4 columns. So therefore this becomes 4. So
Okay,
when I try to expand this, I go up. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the minimum of the values of the widths over
okay.
here. So when I come to 2, so then I'm actually trying to multiply the 2 rows because I'm crossing 2 rows, right? I'm trying to,
Bhaiya हुआ दिन.
sorry.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah, so when I go to 2, so then in this case, actually I'm considering this row and this row, right? Therefore, I'm multiplying by 2, right? But the minimum of 2 and 4 is 2. So I'm just taking the minimum of whatever the widths are in all the both rows. And then I'm actually multiplying by the 2 rows. So therefore, I'm getting this particular area. Because I have to get an area, so I have to get a width as well as the height, correct? So therefore, I'm getting here 4.
Right. So
Okay.
during this traversal, your column is fixed. All you're doing is going back, like going up to the rows, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
you can do from
Santosh,
top to bottom, same thing, right?
I think that should also be possible.
Yeah.
I never thought of that way, but
No,
actually,
you cannot do from top to bottom, I think, because you have fixed the right bottom corner of your rectangle.
yeah. So actually, I'm doing it on the fly, as Harshit said. It's not the way I'm just showing it here, but when I'm here, I've done here. But when I'm at 4, this will be still a 0 or whatever the previous values. I'm not doing anything. So whenever I'm actually calculating a width, I'm doing it on the fly. So I'm here at 4. I calculate that. Then I go to the cell and calculate its width. You know. So
Okay.
therefore, when I'm doing in the rows and column, I'm traversing each and every cell. At that time, I'm trying to get its width. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, dp of ij stores the width ending at that cell in the same row, right?
Right.
Yeah. This is nice.
Yeah.
So you'll be using DP here, right?
Yeah, small
You
dp like this.
yeah.
All along the row.
so instead of using the DP, can we just update the same 2D array, 2D matrix?
Well, that I think is a character, right? So that input is a
Oh, okay.
character. Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
therefore,
Sorry.
I'm using a different. Yeah, but yeah, there is a space. What you say? Yeah, complexity here involved also. Yeah, good one is what you brought in. Yeah. So there are a couple of drawbacks in this option, but worst case, it is not a bad one, right? It's like you're coming to some sort of a brute force which might get accepted, right?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's n cube. It's a good one.
Yeah, but it has cube as well as this one. Yeah.
So how n square for visiting all the cells and other
Right,
n.
and for going up the row.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So you're again traversing from a cell going up to the row. So that will be n, right? Yeah.
So
Okay.
Santosh, so here width we already calculated. So when you go to the 5, we know that width is 5 and 3 is the minimum. You will take the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, for all 3 columns, you need to check the height, right?
Yeah, for each and every column we have to check. I'm just showing an example here.
Okay.
Yeah, because whenever you go to a single row, even to the first one, right? First cell also you check all that exactly the way it is.
Yeah.
But you
Okay.
cannot go to the top row, so you're just doing an optimization here. But I'm just showing you here because we have a lot of values here, right? So it makes much better to
Yeah.
understand. Right?
Okay.
We don't
Yeah.
take the minimum every time. We compare with what we have already, right? So
Uh,
in this example, like when we are at 5,
mhm,
your answer is 1 into 5, right?
mhm,
Then you go up, you find 3.
mhm.
Then your new area becomes 3 into 2. So this is greater than 6, so you take this,
Correct. Yeah.
right? So I mean, I think someone was saying that you take the minimum width always.
Yeah, because when we are actually going up from a particular cell, so you'll have to take the minimum width, right, to find a area.
Right. But that necessarily won't be, forming the maximum area.
That won't be forming the maximum because anyway max so far we are doing, right? Even if it whatever value it comes, that will be ignored, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Shashank,
Yeah.
I'm not able to undo that or clear it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can clear it.
I think what Shashank explained, that would be the most optimal.
Mm-hmm.
Would be an end-to-end.
Okay, but I didn't get the histogram way. I think this is almost like a histogram what we are doing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
If
I'll try to explain that.
okay.
Okay, so let's take this example only. Now, basically, we are trying to use that function. Let's just assume that that function is there to find the largest rectangle in a histogram.
Okay.
So initially, when I have this first row, uh, I'll do nothing. I'll just make it this here 0. So if I use that function, I'll get my answer as 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now coming to the second row, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cumulatively change this sequence only. So since we have like I'm on this row, I have a 1 just above it. So this would be 2 now. This would be 0, and this would be 2, and this would be 0 because there's no continuity here, and this would also be 0. So now basically my answer would be 2 corresponding to this bar, like this bar, right?
First one
Okay.
also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first one
either
also,
of
right?
it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, sorry, not the third one. How do I erase this?
That's okay.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now coming to the third row, my vector would be this 3 because I have 2 continuous ones above.
Mm-hmm.
This would be 1 because I'm starting afresh now. This would be 3.
Mm-hmm.
This would be 2, and this would be this. What do you say? 2 again.
Yeah, just sorry to interrupt you, Arshit. When you did for the top one, when it was 202, should you
Yeah.
not also consider 1 there then in that case?
Yeah. This one. You could have taken this also, like
Because here also you are considering the 0,
we are
1 ones, right?
starting from fresh row, so it should have been, I think,
Yeah,
202.
Okay. Okay, so,
yeah.
okay, no problem.
I missed that.
No problem. Okay, go ahead with this. Yeah.
So now I would be finding my maximum rectangle for this 31322, and that would be, I think, 6 corresponding to this. So 3 here
2 3 is 6. Yeah.
and 2 here and 2 here. So this would be the rectangle.
Okay. The histogram way. So you are getting the
Common height.
Okay, so minimum height in that case,
minimum
right?
height and the width.
So 2 multiplied by 3.
Yeah, this is the width. So it was 2 by 3. So till now we had maximum as 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now going down for the last row, this would be now 4. And since there's a 0 now, so this would dissolve. This would be a 0. Yeah, 0, 3, and again 0. Yeah. So for this, the answer would be 4. But this is smaller than what we have already found out. 6. So this would be right. This would be a
Harshit,
yeah.
at every step when you have created your histogram for the row, then at every step you will be calculating the answer, right? And you'll be keeping like max of r and updating it at every step, right?
Yeah. Using a stack or something, I'll find the answer at every step.
Cool.
Like if you know histogram problem, no, just you pass it as a new height every time. That's it.
No, what I think Ronnie is saying is at every row, we will calculate a max of our value and just move to the next row, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
That is-
you'll use your previous vector
Right,
also.
we'll be using the previous value computed as well.
Okay, so you are, but because actually, why you are using the previous value computed? Because you already have that in a single row, right? So you are just taking the current row and just adding those values to whatever you are calculated till that row, right? Before that row.
Right, right.
Okay, so that will be your histogram. But then, okay. So where does the stack come into picture?
So stack basically stack in that function that question histogram question, we use a stack, no, for finding the maximum.
Okay. Okay, so that, okay, so whenever you're finding that histogram using this one, so you are going to use a stack. Okay, got it.
What will be the time complexity for this?
Time complexity would be n into n.
And because n rows are there, no, you are going through every row each time, right? And if there are m such rows, if
Okay, but would like we'll be iterating over all the elements, right? So wouldn't it be n square?
So n into m only. That
Yeah,
rows
n
into
into m for this, and at every step we also need to calculate the answer, right?
so that's like O of one only, updating only, no, like
I
whatever.
think he's talking about the stack part.
Yeah, I was on the start part.
Yeah, that's O of n operation only.
And we'll be doing it for every row. So wouldn't it be like O of n into n into n?
Right. So every row into O of number of columns, right?
Yeah.
As
So
you said.
yeah.
So for every row, I'm doing that operation, right?
Right.
And basically, my stack, my complexity of the stack code would be number of columns, right?
Right. Exactly.
So a number of rows into number of columns.
Mn.
Okay, I'll clear this.
Yeah, I'm not able to follow.
So let's say you have some. Initially, we have this array, right? 1 0 1 0. Now you apply a stack operation on this particular vector.
Okay.
And the size of this vector is equal to the number of columns.
Right.
So this would be O of number of columns. Let's say number of columns is m. Right?
Okay.
And now the next part is you keep going down.
Right.
Right. So when you take the next row, when you go to the next row, you obtain another vector.
Oh, my bad.
Apply.
Got it. My bad. Yeah. So it's basically O of n into m plus m, right?
O of n into, how come the plus part? Okay,
Yeah,
you are saying
because-
that, yeah, go on.
Yeah. So for m will be like, first m will be for iterating over the column values, and second m will be for the stack operation.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I was getting confused. I thought that at every yeah, my bad. So yeah, it's O and n m. Great. This is a nice approach.
Well, Harshit, sorry. Can you please elaborate that? I couldn't follow what Ronnie and you were discussing.
Okay, so Ronnie was asking the complexity of this code.
Yeah, that I got. Yeah.
So I was trying to explain like how it is O of m into n.
Uh-huh.
So basically, for that stack part, we are iterating over the columns, right? This.
Okay.
So let's say the number of columns is m.
Okay.
Number of columns are m. Okay. Now the next thing we do is we keep going down. Like we move to this row now.
Okay.
So we again form this vector. It would be now 2, 0.
Right. I
Right?
got that. Yeah.
Something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Now we again apply the stack operation.
Okay.
So that would be O of columns, O of m again. So we are doing this thing like we are just a minute,
For m rows.
for n number of rows.
Okay.
So this thing turns out to be O of
N.
n into m.
Well, but whenever you complete a row, then only you do the stack operation, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you do a stack operation, at that time you are passing the complete array of O of m to that stack function, and then you are traversing from the 0th column to m minus 1 column in that case, correct?
Right.
So will that not be, oh, that will be addition of when you are calculating m, so it will be m plus m. Okay, so therefore that it becomes 2m, right? Okay, n into 2m, something like that. Okay, got it. Right, that is what it is, right?
I think
To be
m
precise,
plus m into n.
m plus m into n.
Because we are doing it extra of adding, right? Like I did 1 plus 1. Okay, I got it. Yeah, and n into 2m, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, 2m, something like that. So it will be O of mn. Okay, got it. Makes sense. Thank you. So now, how is this histogram? Can we quickly go through that? The stack approach, possible?
Yeah, I didn't code this part, but I have the code somewhere. So if there's someone who has coded it, let's go through that.
Okay.
Yeah, I can show you.
Okay.
So it's like, I mean, this 1 0 1 0 0. So what will happen? You have to compare its both left and right height. I mean, you have to find a value which is lesser than this on the right side. Till that point, you keep on going. Okay. Let's take, I mean, forget about this. Let's say 5, 6, 7, 2, 1, something like this is there, right? So this is the leftmost. For this, the left side will be -1 only, right? Nothing is there. Now you keep on putting the elements, and not put the element, just put the index, like 0th index you put, and check next element whether this element is lesser than this index or not. Because then only we can have what do you say, minimum height, right?
Okay, so the previous element should be lesser than the current element.
No, you'll have to keep on running this pointer till the point you hit an element which is lesser than this 5.
Okay.
Because that would be the minimum place where what do you say, you will be getting
lesser than the top of the stack, no?
Yeah. Let's be a top of the stack.
Oh, so we are using a monotonic stack operation here, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then this is monotonic stack increasing. Oh, I think we lost Shashank here. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Shashank, continue.
Yeah, just go ahead. So same way, like first you'll put the index 0, right? Then you'll compare whether 6, the element 6 is, what do you say, lesser than just
Top of the
yeah, you compare whether your 6 is lesser than 5 or not. It's not less than, right? So you push that index again. I mean, index of this will be 1. then again 7, it is not, so it is 2. And then now when you hit 2, you will find that 2 is lesser than your, what do you say, this index, this one. So you'll pop it. So till this index you got the, I mean, you just store the index of this, whatever index it is, let's say X.
Mhm.
So
So
this would be your,
when you are popping, so you will be losing the data. So you are going to actually calculate the maximum area in that case, correct?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Now similarly, you can go for the right side also. I mean, right height also you can get. I mean, how much right you can go, how much left you can go. That will give you the width of this entire, right?
So when we hit to 2, then you pop the entire stack and multiply the number of elements you popped with 2. Like that, right?
Yeah. You'll have to get, I mean, this is the right height I'm created, like till what extent I can go in right. Now I'll calculate till what extent I can go in left. Right.
No, I don't think so. I think what he's trying to do is, okay, so first he will push 5 in the stack, right? Then he will come to 6. He will push 6 also in the stack. You know, I'm
Index
actually following the monotonic stack principle, right? Shashank, correct me if I'm wrong. Then he
Yeah.
will push 7. Okay, till that time he is not going to calculate the area.
Oh.
But when he comes to 2, he knows that the top of the stack is greater than the current value. So he has to pop everything. But while he's popping, now what he's going to do is he's going to take 7, okay, and 7 is just one column, okay, one row, I think, right? So 7 will be your answer for now, okay. But when he pops 6, he knows that he has previously popped one row, so 6 will be the minimum now out of 6 and 7. So, but he has popped 2 rows, so he will multiply 6 multiplied by 2 because there are 2 rows now, right? So this will be 12, and then when he's popping up 5, so this will be the third row. So but 5 is smaller than 5, 6, 7. So 5 into 3 will be 15.
Okay,
So
okay. Yeah.
that will be our max area. So then he will push 2 in that. So now stack will contain only 2, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when he comes to 1, actually he does again compare with the 2, but 2 is smaller because 2 into 1 is still smaller than whatever our 15 value is. So he's just going to pop 2 and then push 1.
So he's going to keep the count of stack as well as get the minimum from the stack.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Santosh, one thing. How did you say that the area would be 15? I missed that.
Well, because see, whenever actually see, he is actually pushing 5. So he's pushing either this is the column, right? Okay. So we are on a row. So it is the columns, right? So he has pushed one column of 5. Okay. One of 6 and one of 7. Right. So when you have actually, when you are popping 7, it is only for, this is value. Okay. This is a row value, right? So this will be the 7. Right. Okay, so 1, 7 he is popping up. Okay, so that is the maximum height. And it is only for a single column, correct?
Yeah, it's a first
So
single.
7 into 1 in that case. But when he is popping 6, he knows because he's still in the 2. He's comparing with 2 value, right? He's not actually going and pushing the 2. So he's not completed this popping operation of a stack, like the monotonic stack operation, right? So when he pops 6, there are 2 rows, but the 2 columns, because the previous was 7 and the second was 6, right? So let me draw it here.
Yeah, let me.
So in this case, right, he is saying this is 5, right? This is 6, and this is 7. So now when he's coming to 2, okay, so first time he pops up 7. So he just knows that it is 1. 7 into 1 will be our answer, 7. So when he pops up 6, he knows that 6 and 7, out of this 6 is the smaller one. So 6 into 2 will be 12, right? So this is what is popping. So when he comes to 5, so he's actually, taking the minimum of all the 3, 5, 6, 7. So 5 into 3 in that case will be 15. Right, then he pops up all of this. So now he has got the max so far here. And then he's just starting from 2 fresh.
New, yes.
So that is what the same what you are talking about, right? Almost the histogram problem.
There
So
actually I was
if
to
you use monotonic stack, then only I could understand that. Yeah.
it's a monotonic stack concept also.
Yeah.
You're putting element in using index at that. Yeah, go ahead.
Santosh, in the example you gave,
Uh-huh.
if there are like 10 twos in between 2 and 1, but once you got to, you're already popping the 5, 6, 7. So, but if there are like 3 or 4 more twos in between this 2 and 1, then we will get a different answer, right? Like, but
2 and 1. So you are saying after 5, 6, 7, 2, there are more 2s.
yeah, like consider five twos and then we have 1.
Yeah, so then you will have to do it for all those 2s, right?
But you're popping when you got the first 2, right? Like you're popping 5, 6, 7 as soon as you got the first 2. Then you're starting over again with the 2.
Okay, let me get your what you're saying. First is 5, 6, 7, 2, and then what you want?
Like few more 2s. Like how many?
Like add 7 more twos.
Like
Total
this,
8 twos.
8 2s.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and then 1, something like that. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you come to 2, okay, so then actually, I think what you have to do in this case. You till this case when you do 5, 6, 7, this was clear, right? So when you come to 2, now all these 5, 6, 7 have gone. So you have 1, 2 inside. But now this second 2 is not greater than this one, right? So you're just pushing them all. So you push all of this 8 twos, right? You don't do anything now. So when you are at here and then when you come to 1, right? So then you start popping one by one these 2, right? So in this case you will get this 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 into 2 will be 16 in that case, right? So
But
this will be our maximum.
But answer can be 22, right? Like if it
Right.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so Harshit, how is that? So that is a good question to Harshit then. Maybe I missed something.
So I think like if your stack, there are two conditions basically. If your stack is empty, then you have to choose like the index that you are currently on and minus the 0th index. So if someone has
Okay.
if someone has implementation, it will be more clear. Like
Yeah. So actually, this will be something he was talking about, right? -1 or so. So that was the top of the stack. So you always have to consider this with this value, right? So now it will be 1, 2, 3 also in that case, right? These 3 rows will also be added, right? So it will be 16 plus 6, something 22. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was trying to take only the values, but it is not. So there is a subtle difference in the implementation of monotonic stack, I think, right? Okay.
yeah. So if you are at index like 5, 6, 7 and a 2 after that, right? So once you are popping out from the like rightmost 2, your index is the rightmost 2. Okay. Like okay, and yeah, and then you will keep on popping till the 2 which is 7 after 7, and the solution will be like your current index minus the 0 multiplied by 2. So that would be the answer.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you
essentially
have
we
to
find
store.
the area for the element which is less. Like we multiply 2 with the index first, like 2 into 1, then 2 into 2, then 2 into 3. So 5, 6, 7.
So in this case, in this stack, you are storing the index as well as the value.
So
No,
if we have the index, then we can get the value. No?
Yeah.
Oh, you just store the index. Yeah. Oh, makes sense. Okay. Yeah. But overall, the monotonic stack, and then you'll have to take care of that condition what everyone was talking right now, right?
Yeah, that my
Got it.
stack is.
Yeah. So yeah, if you could go through the implementation, that will be clear, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Shashank, you'll have to remove it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So this is like this is a base condition. Like if there is no matrix or single column is there, I mean there is not even column. So in that case, you'll return 0. So here we are calculating the how many columns are there in that. Now height I have taken those height array I have taken. I mean this would be your height array, right? Whatever the length of one column is. Now going through each of the row in your matrix and through each of the column. So what I'm doing here, if your height, if that is 1, if the number is 1, then you just add 1, otherwise you remain as it is, right?
Okay.
So, yeah. And yeah, go ahead. Go.
So you are actually doing a cumulative
Prefix
of
sum
the-
you can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now the top of a stack, initially your top of the stack I have filled with -1 because for this, if the stack is empty, like for 0th element. Now going through each of the columns. So what I'm doing, if the current height, if that is lesser than the top of the stack you will have some element. You are checking whether the current height is lesser than or lesser than that or not. If it is, then we'll pop and get that height. And wherever your current index I is there, so that minus this will give you the width. Top element minus the current I will give you the width, and we keep on updating the what do you say, the max area what you are getting.
But initially, when you push a -1 on line number 12 in the stack, and
Okay.
then you come to your while loop. So when you
Yeah.
are saying stack -1, in that case is the top of the stack, right?
Yes, that is top of the stack.
So if it gives a -1 to the height array, which will be the index in the height array, which is a negative number, will that not be out of bounds there? Or does
Just
that
to
take?
find the width.
They have said with zeros and ones only, right? Negative number I didn't get in the sense.
No, when you said you are actually pushing -1 first on line number 12, right? So that
Yeah,
is your last one, right?
Yeah.
So but when
Yeah.
you are in this while loop, correct? So when you actually come to that line number 14, and then when you say height of I is less than height of stack -1, which is the top. So in this case, if it is empty, it is -1, right?
Yeah.
So because always you are having -1 as the first element. So when you are comparing the value, what the stack -1 is returning is -1. I'm asking a question because I'm not getting this Python syntax.
Yeah.
So when
We
you
won't
return
get
a
into this
-1,
condition.
we won't get into this. Okay.
Because as Shashank said, we have zeros and ones. So this height of I would always be greater than height of this stack -1.
Oh.
Yeah, it will never, because elements are always 0 and 1 only, right?
Okay. Okay.
So shall we do or any problem?
Where are you popping, Shashank?
Pardon?
Where are you popping the elements? Okay,
Yeah, this one, line number 15.
Okay.
Actually, I was thinking what Santosh raised it. So even if 1 or 0 is not never going to make this condition true for that, but it is going to find that value, right? Height of -1.
Yeah, I didn't.
Anyway, Python Yeah, Python indexing -1 is like last element from the end, so it works here. But if it is a different
Okay.
language, you get an error.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
other
we'll have to
language
take
do
care
that.
of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
In our language.
Yeah.
For-
Okay.
With respect to Python, it's giving the last element -1 indicates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be just s of top, like in C++.
Yeah, as a peak, yeah, as of top.
Peak,
Yeah.
right?
But if our s of top is -1, we are not going to use that value, right? In our case, if we are actually indexing with
Yeah,
to an array, right? So we'll have to add some condition there. Yeah. But this is different implementation in another language, so this works. Yeah, good. Something new to understand. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is good. I think it's a monotonic stack, but it's a very different way of implementation. It's not a straightforward,
Yeah,
right?
of
That is what
course.
I get.
But this is what like Harshit was saying, like calculating the height. I mean, go every row, calculate the cumulative height and pass it. I mean,
Right.
then
Yeah. Means both of you, whatever you are explaining. So it is not a straightforward, simple monotonic stack implementation. That's
yeah,
what I'm trying to
exactly.
understand. It was hard for me to understand that, but yeah.
No, I mean that is more tougher. The previous one, like getting a height in the histogram, yeah, because both the way you'll have to calculate the height in that case.
Mhm.
But here it is, they have confined the number to 0 and 1, so
Okay.
yeah, yeah, we can switch to next then.
Right. I think there are some questions we didn't follow in the stack. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are following to some extent.
Ama told you. You told you.
Yeah. Can you mute Shashank?
Yeah, sure.
You can mute everyone, and then whoever wants can unmute.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So yeah, let's start.
With
If
next.
there are no questions, we can move to the next one.
No. Yeah, we can start then. So next is random pick with weight. So you are given an array of positive integers where W of I describes the weight of ith index, and we are supposed to call this pick index function, which randomly returns an integer in the range 0 to W or dot length, I mean length of that array dot pick index. Should return the integer proportional to its weight in the W array. For example, 1, 3. So the probability of 1 is 1 by 4. I mean, the probability of this is 3 times the probability of the first one. Picking the index 0 is 1 by 4, that is 0.25, and probability of picking the index 1 is 3 times of that, that is 75. So we'll pick that one. What you say, this index.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is what solution and peak index is there. So here, yeah, there is single element only, so nothing more. Yeah, we can come here. So like if we go here, picking this one would be like what? 1 and 3 is there. Same way like what they were saying. This will be 0.5 and this will be 0.75, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be better to pick the index 1 always. This.
Well, actually, I'm not very clear on getting the problem statement here. I know we should actually talk about the requirements, but if we just go to this second one,
Yeah.
So if I were to think, I was thinking like this when I was trying to understand this also. So if I consider in this 1 and 3, right? So 1 is minimum, right? So if I take 1 and try to break the 3, okay, so it will be like 3 is equal to 1 multiplied by 3, right? So it is 1 of 3 times. So what if I put in an array something like this 1, and then I just put 3 times, okay, right? So in that case, whenever I want to pick up a random value, okay, the random value, I can pick any one of them. So that the probability will be correct, right? So now I'm actually picking up from a value array of size 4 instead of array of size 2, right? So the probability actually will match, but when I'm going to return it, I know my 3 is index 0, okay, and my 3 is index 1, and my 1 is index 0. So whenever I hit on this condition, I will just go, maybe I'll form something like a map over here and just return the index. So will that work?
So you are, equalizing the probability first, right? By increasing the whosoever has larger probability. That is what you're doing.
Right, right. So at least on the understanding front. So this should be okay, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, this
Okay.
is what we are doing.
Okay. Okay.
But how do you use this part mathematically?
Yeah, that is what.
Yeah, this makes sense totally. But how do you like to?
No, you'll check by how many times one, probability of one is greater than three. It's 3 times, right? So those many times you'll repeat that number. Number three.
But if the numbers are different, yeah, I got your point.
So, like, what if we get? No, that is something else. But how do you selectively pick only 1 and 3? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. So in this case, I just took 1 as the minimum of all of them, right? And then I'm just actually dividing whatever is the other ones, and I'm actually splitting those numbers in terms of my minimum one. So if I had 1, 2, 3, and 4, something like that, so I will take 1 year as a base, and then 2, referring 1, I'll just make it 2, 2, and the same thing for 3, 3, right?
Yeah.
So, but when I don't have 1, okay, I have some very different number like 5, 8, 3, and all that, right? So then breaking that will be difficult. Yeah, I got that. So maybe we'll have to use some common GCD factor like that and then get some, but that will be more complex, Yeah.
So
Okay.
here,
Yeah, we have to map the weights properly.
Yeah. 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 So this is just I was thinking, but this doesn't work for all. But at least to some extent, I thought maybe the problem statement helps, understanding. Because looking at that, what they are writing, it's very difficult to get like, how can the probability be like that? But if we just normalize the probability, then we should be able to pick whatever the element is at particular index and return it. Something like that. I was thinking on that lines. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Shashank.
Yeah. So this is the second one. And yeah. So at most you can have 1,000 calls this peak index. Right.
So that is the only thing. The constraint is 1,000 calls max, and your length will be 10 raised to 5. Value will be 10 raised to 5, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big number. So if we do division and all that.
Division, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how are we? Yeah, we'll have multiple answers also to this.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
one of them. So it's like same like generate all the possibilities, right? Probabilities, and then check like take the cumulative sum of that, right? And generate all the possibilities depending on that.
So if you just go, just scroll up a bit.
Yeah, sure.
So he's saying that you form a cumulative sum right here in this more formally. The probability of picking an index I is Wi divided by sum of W. Yeah, so that is what I was saying, divided by, because 10 raised to 5, we have so much numbers, and if you are dividing that huge number, 10 raised to 5, so you might have a big float value or a double value, something like that. But
this given formula of the probability, I think, calculating, right? That particular number by the sum total of all the numbers.
Okay. Okay, we don't have to do that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so because once you take the sum, then the array becomes sorted, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then you can take help of binary search in that case. You can
Oh.
bucketize it, yeah, in which section, which will form.
Yeah,
Like,
basically, then we are able
yeah,
to
go
map
ahead.
the way.
Yeah.
But why do we do binary search?
Things get
Because
sorted. You have to find the index with minimum. What do you say? So when the array is sorted, you can take advantage of it. That where it will fall.
okay.
Okay,
I
that
mean,
is the later part. I mean,
Uh-huh.
first
yeah.
we have to form a sequence. So, okay, let's say this is the array.
Okay.
1, 2, 5, 7. Now we need to define a sample space for this. So as it is evident in this part, like they do this 1 plus 3. So basically, I'll keep my sample space number, like the universal set, as the sum of all this. That is 4 plus 5 plus 7, 16. So for this, probability would be 1 by 16. And likewise, it will follow 3 by 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so as it says that this would be a random output. So I have to obtain some random number from this sequence. So for that, let's define this prefix sum. So that would be here, like 1, 4, 9, 16. So this is the array we have. Now, if I say that, let's say I just randomly pick any number. So if I pick this number, say like this number, so I would say that this maps to this number, 3. So this is what like we're trying to do, because I mean, I have obtained this number by adding 3 to my previous sum. So this is what I like try to obtain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, like
Yeah.
this is 0, 1, 4, and this 9, and then 16. Right. These are the different buckets that you have created.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Let's name the indices also. 0.
Yeah, indices.
1, 2, and 3. Yeah, so yeah, as Shashank told, this area represents this 3, this represents this 5, and 9 to 16 represents 7. So if I pick anything here, like if my random number gives me anything here, then I would have to map this to 7. So let's say my random number picks this not index, this number 9. So what I can do is I can use the upper bound, because I have to go forward in this space, because 9 to 16, this 9 open bracket and 16 close
16.
bracket
Yeah.
belongs to 7. So this gives me an idea of upper bound, right?
Yeah. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So my random number would pick any number from this array, and I'll just map the upper bound as the answer.
And this 9 will be closed for the previous one, right? And 4 will be open for
Yeah,
5.
right. This way only.
Okay.
So for this would be 4 open and close 9
Close 9. Yeah.
for 5.
Okay. Uh-huh. So, okay. So you do a prefix sum first, and then you do a binary search on it.
Yeah.
Because you do a prefix sum, you get a sorted array, and then you do a binary search on that sorted array. And so whatever you are trying to do, you are trying to find the upper bound. It means it's going to take not the exact number, but whatever number greater than that number, right?
Right.
Okay. But if instead of doing a binary search, yeah, okay, yeah. because you are getting everything in log of n in that case, right? Because you don't
Yeah.
have to do
No, but
sorting
anyway,
necessity.
time will be order of n only because prefix sum you are calculating no.
Prefix sum.
So that
Okay.
will be order of n, right? Again, you are using binary search. So,
Okay.
so rather than doing linear search, there you are a little bit
And
optimized.
also, because through this representation, we are able to use the concept of probability. Because if you see in this space, this region has the maximum probability, right?
Oh,
Like,
okay. Uh-huh.
So this would be picked up the maximum times.
But it should be uniform probability, right? So why are you calling
so they
9 to
haven't
6?
mentioned
Uniform for
anything.
1 point. Like this is 7, no? So
Oh, the value is more. Okay.
yeah,
Compared to all others. Okay.
this should be 7 by 16.
Okay. Now things are clear. Yeah, because that is what the probability is, and that is the reason we have to do prefix sum. Okay. So, but whatever is the
Difference
highest
gives us the-
value, yeah, that is the reason you are saying. Okay.
Yeah. So now we are using upper bound because so if you ask the upper bound of 9, it would be 16, right? And this 16 is at the index 3, and this third index belongs to 7. So we
Corresponds
just
to
return the
7.
index.
Okay.
That is what in the question is, the index.
Yeah.
But what kind of question is this? Like, I mean, I'm not getting like it's neither falls under algorithm nor complete match also, right? Like, I mean, what do they want to check from this? I don't understand.
This is a mathematical question, right? And
Yeah,
they're
bit
trying
of
to understand
probability
how we can handle a probabilistic.
approach. I mean, kind of probabilistic intuition how much we are having here.
Yeah, we have done a couple of questions, right, on the same exact pattern.
Yeah.
Rectangle one,
And it
circle
is
one.
sort of a low-level design problem, correct?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
That circle one also we did, right? Circle inside of that integration we are using.
Yeah, that was different, but the square approach, what Santosh was explaining.
Yeah,
that
Santosh was explaining.
And you were
Yeah, that's a
explaining
bit
part
different.
one. So basically, we define some sample space first, and then we try to pick points in a way that it favors the more probable one.
Yeah. Yep, I think this is good. Unless anyone has any questions.
Where it was asked, like
Many companies.
yeah. Oh, where I didn't get.
A lot of companies.
Oh, okay.
It's a common
That
one.
doesn't. Yeah. Mention.
Yeah.
But lot of dislikes are there for this.
That is
Initially, you look at it, you feel why it's a very weird problem. So you just mark a dislike there, and then you move on, right? Then when you come back and you understand it, you don't remove that dislike, so the dislikes remain there. You know, that is what I'm thinking now.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, just ignore that for now. Yeah, let's walk through this implementation quickly.
Yeah, so this is like I sum of what do you say entire array I have done, and weight array I have made in which first element probability is like W of 0 upon the total sum whatever I have, and now I'm working from first of the array and picking the last element and then keep on appending. It's like calculating the probability for that, right? Like, I mean, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 is there. So first I calculated the sum of this. Sum of this will be 336 by 10. So 1 by 10. And for from 1 onwards, from here onwards, I'm just taking the previous this value and just adding the, what do you say, 1 by 10 plus 2 by this total sum 3 to 5 plus 4, 9. And just what it will be 9 plus 9.
No, S you are not changing, right? You will always keep the S there same. So 2 by 10.
Sorry, S will be same. No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, S I don't. Yeah, sum.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought it was 9. Okay, so you are again doing a cumulative sum, but you are using float values, correct? In this case.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will be.
Okay.
And just after that, binary search I'm using. Like this is your length, right length. I mean, this is the right length and left length is 0. And seed is like for generating the which random number you want to pick. So as long as your left is less than r, I'm first calculating the mid of that. After calculating the mid, I'll check whether what you say, if the whatever weight, whatever value has been assigned at that particular mid, whether that is less than the random number or not. So if it is, I mean, if it is lesser, then we go to the right side. Sorry, left. Yeah, we go to the right side. Else, this is the left side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go to the left side when actually the seed is lesser than the weight.
Weight, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a little better.
Yeah, I think this is a
Or upper bound also, like somewhere in C, I mean in Python bisect function is there for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So upper bound we just use whatever the array length is, and then we after the third parameter we pass is whatever the value we want to look for. So in this case it will be the seed value, and whenever we return, that will be an iterator. So we'll have to subtract that iterator from the start iterator, so you'll get an index. Yeah, so it's almost the same.
Yeah.
But you are explicitly doing the binary BST operation. Yeah. Okay, so this is good. Let's move on.
Yeah, any question here, or we can move to next then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So n repeated element in a 2n size array. So in an array of size 2n, there are n plus 1 unique elements, and exactly one of these elements is repeated n times. So return the element repeated n times. So this 3 is repeated n by 2 times. So 3 is here and here 2 means 5, and array length will always be even because 2n is mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do we go here?
And what are the constraints?
Constants like at least 4 elements will have in your array. Yeah.
And the values are 10,000. Yeah.
10,000. Yeah.
And length is even. Yeah. Yeah. Harshit, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, also looks like a simple problem, and we can just start the array and take the n by 2 element. That will be our answer, right? Because n plus 1 elements are n elements are like the element is repeating n times. So at like from n by 2th position, all the remaining elements will be that element.
Yeah, from current index plus n by 2 to that position you go, you should see the same element, right?
Yeah.
No, but what if all the elements are after n by 2? The repeated ones.
I didn't get like.
Okay, so what she's
So
saying.
we want to return the element which is repeated n times. So only all the elements are unique except some element which is repeated n times.
Okay.
So if we sort, then half or more elements are all that repeated ones, right?
Okay, so you are saying if we sort them. Okay.
Yeah, if we sort them and take the middle element.
So in this case, like the first one, 1, 2, 3, 3, right, is already sorted for now. We already sort and we bring here. So you are saying we have a size of 4, right? 4 divided by 2, right? So this will be 2.
Hmm.
And then you just return whatever is at the 2.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, because this index would always be occupied by that majority.
I think we had a similar something like that we were discussing last.
Majority index.
Okay.
Majority, yeah. But we can use hash map simply, right?
Okay, so extra space. So okay, so this will be n log n.
Yeah, that will optimize this. What you say.
So if we use a hash map, and then
So I think the question that we had, a Komal's suggestion, right? In this example, that 1, 2, 3, 3, which element will you pick?
3.
If the input was 1, 1, 2, 3, then which element will you pick?
1, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So it should be 1.
But you won't pick 1, right? You will pick the middle element, which was 2. So I think there is a little bit of a problem if the elements are actually all on one side, right? So there are 2 cases. Your entire n by 2, there are 3 scenarios, right? One scenario is where n by 2 elements are all to the left. One scenario is n by 2 elements are all to the right. And the third scenario is like n by 2 elements are in the middle somewhere, like with some elements in the left and some elements in the right. So it will work. You have to figure out like all the 3 specific cases. Otherwise, it's not possible to.
Right. So we have to take a different test case. Correct. Yeah. So this n log n will not work unless you do some more things in that, right? Okay.
So we can just check the adjacent element, one left and one right.
Correct. So you test like the n by 2 plus 1, and you test n by 2 minus 1, n by 2 minus 2. You just check and that should be. I mean, it's a very, very simple fix, but completeness is not there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Thanks, Vivek. Yeah, we missed that point. Yeah, that's good. So this one n log n, and then you said you use a map, right?
Yeah.
So map will be very normal way. Just we go O of n, we just calculate all the frequencies, and whichever the frequency is more than 1, we just return that value, correct? So that will be O of n. So instead of map, we could use set also in that case, correct?
Set, yeah.
Okay, so set, it's an unordered set. So in C++, if it's unordered set, it's O of 1 time complexity. So that is slightly better. Okay, so that will be again O of n. And with space complexity of O of
n.
Right. Okay, so any other better approach?
Yeah, I think just to build on to that, what Vivek was saying. So in this case, when we look for the n by 2th index, we get 2, right? And then we check n by 2 minus 1th index. So these 2 values are not equal. So then we move 1 left. Is that the way? Like n by 2 minus 2, and then we conclude that n by 2 minus 1 and n by 2 minus 2, they are the same. So we return that.
Yeah, what they were saying, like if we don't find it here, right? So we need to actually, in this case, if we don't find it here, right? So you go to this one and then compare that with the previous one because it's sorted, right? Or this guy and then you compare with this one.
Right.
Or you can compare with the.
No, I think the question was like, so let's say you don't sort it. Okay. Now, given that you know that half the elements are this value, right? This x value x. Then what is the what is the longest run that you can have without x?
N by 2.
Like in the entire array. If you have n by 2, but then the shortest run will be adjacent elements, right? Like what is the worst possible case? I'm just like best of worst essentially. See that. So the one of the ways this can be arranged is like it will probably be alternate elements. Okay.
Yeah, your voice is breaking a bit.
Or window of 4. Okay, and yeah, just window of 4, and then what is possible is you can have the first element is x, the second and third elements are different, and the fourth element is also x, right? That is a possibility. So if you just look for windows of 4 and keep going, you don't need a hash map per se. All you just need is just like memory of 4, and just see if there are any duplicates. And you just go through the entire array in one shot. You should be able to find it. I mean, that's like it's just building on top of what Komal's algorithm was, except that you're sorting, but you can do it without sorting as well.
Okay, so you are saying break every this array in terms of 4 elements, and
sliding window of 4. So you'll take the first 4 elements, then you take the first to 5th, then you take the second to 6th, and so on, right? It's just like look for every sliding window of 4.
Okay, so in that sliding window, compare for whichever are the unique, not unique elements, they are repeated elements. And then, yeah, okay.
In the sliding window of 4, like the question is sliding window of X, and I think 4 is the right answer here because of how it is structured. But the worst possible arrangement could be that you could have an element X and then 2 elements and then another X or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, so we will be able to find a duplicate in that because we already have n by 2 elements are repeated elements, right? So wherever we arrange them, at least whenever we have a sliding window of size 4, we surely will find in one of that they are repeated. Yeah, so that makes sense. So that will be an optimized version, as well as we don't have to use an additional space, correct?
Yeah.
Right, and it will be still in O of n.
So will a sliding window
if you were not permitted any space, no additional space allowed.
Yeah, Harshit.
So I was just wondering whether a sliding window of size 3 would work.
No, see why it is on that, so because we are given n by 2 elements, right? They are unique. So even if he says n by 1 are unique, but he still has one element which is going to be repeated, right? So if we divide the array n by 2 and n by 2, so n by 2 will be unique values and n by 2 will be the repeated values, right? So whenever we divide the array.
Harshit's question was, can we do a sliding window of 3 instead of sliding window of 4? And I think you're right. Sliding window of 3 is also possible. Because even if you have a scenario of X unique number, and another X, on the right of it, to the right of it or to the left of it, you will find the correct example as well, right?
Right.
No, not really. What if the array was just size of 4?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Then it won't work. So I think you need a sliding window of 4.
Yeah. Right.
Or maybe you just need it only for the array of size 4 is where this is a problem. Like, for size 6, the element has to be, the elements to the left or right has to be X anyway. So we may actually just do a unique special case for 4, just size 4, and then we may just do a sliding window of 3 after that. That might work.
We'll have to take care of this.
Yeah.
Did that make sense to folks? I mean, I know we just went a little.
Yeah, no, that's right. So yeah, I was also thinking like sliding window of 3. Yeah, it might or not. In some cases, that's correct. So you'll have to go for a sliding window of 4. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and is there any other way other than this?
No, I just used a set here. I mean, took the initial sum of the array and took the unique elements. So, and n plus 1 unique elements will be there, and I summed them and subtracted it from the original sum and just divided it by the half the length of the array.
So how is this set of A? What is set of A?
Set of A will be, 1, 2, 3, right? Like
okay. You are doing the set. You are using a set. Okay.
So sum will be your 1, 2, 1, 3, 3, 6, 3, 9. 9 minus set of A will be 1, 2, 3. So 3, 2, 5 plus 1, 9 minus 3, 6. And I'm dividing it by the length. Length is 4. 4 by 2 is 2 minus 1. So 3.
Okay.
Yeah. But extra space I'm using.
Yeah. one of the solutions that I saw in the discussions was actually someone was using zero space at all.
Oh, let's share it. Can you?
And the way they're doing it is very simple. You randomly pick two elements and compare if they, okay, what is the probability that they will be the same, or what is the probability that they'll be unique?
Yeah, so that will work, right? Yeah, if you have a
just pick two random elements, check if they're the same. If not, then if that's not the case, then again you keep repeating.
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever the indexes are not equal in that case, because when you do a rand function of that, you might end up having same indexes. You just ignore them and then keep on doing till you don't find the duplicates.
Yeah, random.sample I think gives you two random elements, so it doesn't give you the same element twice. So,
okay.
So that is safe, but otherwise, but yeah, the whole idea is that you take two random elements, you see if they're same. If they're not same, then you keep repeating two random elements and so on. So there is obviously a possibility that this can go into an infinite loop, but that probability is like fairly low because typically in like 4, 5, 6 iterations it should solve itself. I think the assertion was that it will be done in four iterations, which is interesting. Which means you don't
each time you pick the same pair of numbers. Then, like, is it guaranteed that they'll pick unique pair of numbers every time?
But no, you keep on changing it, yeah.
You pick random, so it's not guaranteed to be unique. That is there is a possibility of infinite loop if you happen to only pick unique numbers every time, right? If you did that or whatever, right? There is a 1 in X probability that you will be picking the same number over and over again as well. So it is definitely a non-zero probability of this going into an infinite loop, but on a practical case, this will kind of work.
Yeah. So therefore, that is Y1. Yeah.
I looked at the chat, and I think Ankita, you had a question of sliding window of 4. Did that get answered?
Yes, it did. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome.
So implementing sliding window of 4, maybe do you have an implementation, anyone? Well, I had a different way, I'll just share. Maybe it's not exactly the way we discussed, but yeah. So this is the way it is, I'm actually using from K 1 to 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 in this case. And then these are the sizes, K1 and 3 sizes. And then actually I'm going through in this for loop.
So it's the same, no? It's the sliding window size 4.
Yeah, sort of sliding window, but it's slightly different. But I just took it from the solution. Yeah.
This is size 4, right? Because you're looking up 3 ahead. A of 0 is converted, A of 1, 2, and 3. So this is technically that.
4, yeah. So this is the way they have implemented. So yeah.
We're generating that rand modern for falling it into within range.
Which one?
That's a different one.
That's a different. 11 line.
Oh, this is what Vivek just mentioned, right?
Oh, that's a different solution.
Yeah, I'm just explaining this one.
Yeah. I thought how it is linked.
No.
Okay, got it.
So this is that sliding window 4. But not actually the way we do the sliding window, but just using in a length of 1. First going through 1 length, then 2 length, then 3 length, right? Yeah.
Okay. This is a little bit problematic because you are actually checking multiple things multiple times of sorts, right? You're not. It's like you are. This is essentially 4n algorithm wise.
Yeah, it is 4n.
Whereas if you use like a set of 4, right?
Then you could have O of n.
It's still big O of n. It's not the same. It's not a big difference between the two. But in this case, you're doing 4 times n. Whereas if you had used a set, assuming it's O of 1 for the set, then it'll be just n.
Yeah.
Because you can just add you would add the first 4 elements to the set and see if there are duplicates, and then you will remove the first element, and then you'll add the 5th element. You'll remove the first element, add the 6th, and add the next element, and so on. So you'll do it like a typical sliding window fashion.
Okay. So you are saying just take a complete 4 sliding window and then keep on removing the first element, then add another element to that. Okay. What I was thinking, just remove the 4 completely and then go for the next 4.
No. It has to be sliding window, right? Sliding window means that you have to go 0 to 3, then 1 to 4, then 2 to 5, and so on. So the way to do it is to remove 0, add 4. Remove 1, add 5. Remove 2, add 6, and so on, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Any questions on the sliding window? It's not a very complicated concept, but it can become tricky if you have not used it before.
Yeah, the way you explained, because when Harshit was saying a sliding window of 3, and then you said, okay, we have a 4th one. So I thought like you're always having comparing with the whole 4 and then moving to the next 4, but it's not like that. You are actually going through increasing the sliding window, keeping it 4, but only adding one element at a time and removing the first element, the very first element in that. Yeah. So that is okay. Yeah.
The same thread, there is an implementation for 3.
Yes, Uday?
In the same thread that you have opened, there's an implementation for 3 as well.
Yeah, I think that's what I think Harshit was mentioning, right? The thing is that the way you, the only case where where a sliding window of 3 will fail is if the array is of size 4 and the first element and the last element are duplicates, right? And that is a special case. You can just check that first. If the array size is 4 and if the first element is the same as the a of 0 is equal to a of 3, then you return true. Then you return a of 0 essentially. But for that condition, I think you can the sliding window, the regular sliding window concept will work. It will always be sliding window of 3, which was like an interesting optimization.
Yeah. So, but coming to a sliding window of size 4 that is what the whole trick in that, right? Because as Harshit said, we can come with a sliding window of 3, but actually that won't work because of these corner cases. But why to come with that 4? Because usually sliding window, we take some values, right? First maybe a couple of, maybe 1 or 2 and then keep on comparing. But here you have to come with a specific size 4 because we have n by 2 elements which are equal, right?
If I change the question a little and say that, there are like arrays of size 3n and same thing, right? The others are unique, only n elements are repeated. What would be the sliding window size in that case?
So array of size 3m and how many are repeated, you said?
Everything is just n, right? N is repeated and all the others are unique.
Okay, and then you are saying it is 3m.
So there are 2n plus 1 unique elements. So exactly the same thing. It's like the array of A of size 3n. There are 2n plus 1 unique elements, and each exactly one of the element is repeated n times. Return the element that's repeated n times. So that's the just changing the question a little because I want to see how you can generalize the sliding window size.
So you are saying 1/3 of elements are repeated, and 2/3 are unique, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So in this case, it is going to be sliding window of 6, I think.
5 it should be for 6.
So 3, 3, 3.
So the minimum size of the array will be 6, right?
Yeah.
And the minimum repetition that you will have is
the repetition will be n by 3, right?
Yeah, but 2 times in this case. Like you can be repeated twice, right? The element can be repeated twice in 6. Size of 6, it can be there twice. So the worst case scenario would be the first element is n, the last element is n.
Right.
Okay. So you can do sliding window of 6 and you can get through with it, which is the exact same thing as sliding window of 4 that you have right now. However, the optimal one would be a sliding window of 5 with the special case for if the array of size 6 and the first element is equal to last element, you check that separately and then you can satisfy everything with sliding window of 5.
Okay.
Hypothesis.
So the same thing what we did for the previous one with 3, size 3. Okay.
Correct. So essentially, given this like generalized form would be if there is n and it is the array is of size k times n, then the minimum array that will be given to you will be size k, right? In this not size k, size 2k, and then your goal, your sliding window would be of that size minus 1 primarily, because if you can special case the first one, then you can do it with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. But like if we have a sliding window of 5 or 6, actually there is not going to be much of a performance time complexity difference, right? So it will be almost the same.
It is, yeah, it is the same. Again, even that method or even the method that you have used, right, where you're not using a sliding window, but you're just using a look ahead of 4. So your algorithm is 4n versus like a sliding window would be just n.
Right,
but
right.
Big O wise, there's no difference, right? Constants can be ignored.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah, in the worst case, if we are not able to come with that size of 3 or 5, so just go with the slice of 6, and then that should also be the most optimum way of implementing. Yeah, but just good to know about it. Yeah, so Uday, that is all right. You had anything? Okay.
Any questions like further?
Yeah, that's all. I think we don't have any questions. Yeah, we can keep it to best candidates.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can stop the recording.
Yeah, sure.